Hello everyone and welcome back to another game of Nemesis from Awakened Realms. Playing again solo but with two characters because it makes the game harder, as is evidence for last time, spoilers, where everybody died. But this time we're going to swap out the soldier. We're still going to use the captain, but we've swapped in the CEO, which is one of the expansion characters from the Aftermath expansion. They're meant more for the epilogue that Aftermath adds, but it does say in the rules for Aftermath you can use these characters in the base game. They're not necessarily balanced perfectly for it, but you can use them. And the expansion also introduces traits to the classes. You have to use the CEO one, and I'm optionally including the one for the captain as well. Once again, I haven't looked at what the objectives are, so we'll do that in a second, but let's just quickly look at their traits so we know what we're dealing with. This is the CEO's trait. You start the game with a body serious wound, which I've given him already, but as long as your robot, healer, assistant, doctor person has energy, it's counted as being dressed. So he has a robot on his base that's helping him around. It has 5 energy. Some of his cards require the robot to use that energy, and he actually starts with more cards than normal, but some of them are one use only, if used for the purpose on the card, that is. I guess you could probably call them Waylon and D. No, that's too obvious. Let's call them David and W, and go from there. The captain's trait is called Just Die Already, which means when you've paid to shoot the 6 shooter that he starts with, you can choose to keep shooting as long as you have ammo, and only at the point you've decided you've shot enough do you check to see if you've killed the thing. So it's a good way of making sure an alien dies, but you'll burn through your 6 bullets basically instantly, and the only way to get more is to use his reload card. So we are ready to jump in. Let's see what the actual objectives are. The CEO is more like an evil character, but in solo mode it's not really going to matter, so he's just got a bog standard solo objective. Cutting off the head. Send the signal and the queen must have been killed, or send the signal and the ship must have been destroyed. Okay, we'll pick one of those two at the point at which intruder is encountered. The captain. Send the signal and the nest must have been destroyed, or send the signal and the ship must have been destroyed. These two actually synergize together. They both need to send the signal and they both need to make sure the ship's been destroyed. Very doable. That would mean we have to escape in the escape pods. Sounds like we've got a plan. So we're ready to get started, and once again, like last time, I'll only show the card if it's being used for the purpose on the card, otherwise I'll just say what's being discarded to do an action. The captain is still player 1, so we're going with him first, so he is immediately going to move, and we want the ship to be destroyed, so we are going to have to check the engines, but just to make sure they're broken for a change. Desperately finding the signal room is top priority, and then we need to find one of the escape pod launchers and be there by the time it opens. So let's get rid of a rest card and do our first move of the game. Let's move, let's go down the way. Airlock control, not useful immediately. What's wrong with it? Noise in every direction, so no noise required. There's 3 items, and instantly something, oh, that includes the technical corridors as well. That's just peachy, that is. Okay, so the corridors have got noise in them as well. And then he will search, and he'll use a search card in order to do that. So we'll take this down to two yellow items. Does he want tools or does he want an energy charge? Energy charge does not work on his gun. So I think we're going to take the tools, and we might discard them for the intercom, but the intercom doesn't seem that useful because the CEO is very similar to how the captain works. I'm not sure. That's his turnover for now, though. We have to go to the CEO. So for the CEO, we're going to get rid of his interruption card, because in solo mode those cards are just there to be spent, and he is going to go wandering up the way. We need to find the signal room. That's not the signal room, but that does give us control over doors. What's wrong with it? It's malfunctioning, so no, it doesn't. Not currently. So, 1 item, malfunction, and we also need to roll for noise. We didn't roll for noise the other way because there was noise in every direction. Oh, he was silent, and he's not slimed, so for once I rolled an X, and it actually applies the silence. Now, let's see, can we use... If I'm in the room with a computer... Oh, but it's broken though, we would need to repair it. Don't have a repair card currently. We don't really need control over doors at this point, I think, so we can probably leave that broken for now. I'll get rid of a rest card to move again. Need to come around this side of the camera. Probably going to need to move the camera actually because I'm going up the way. You see that? If we pull back just a little bit, we're going up here. Storage room. Search for an item. Not if it's on fire, we're not. There's 2 items in here. I'll get a fire token in a second. Where's the noise at? 2. Right there. In fact, we have a fire token right here. So he's not going to be able to stay in there, otherwise he's going to take damage, but it's back over to the captain for now. Alright, Captain, my captain, let's get rid of demolition. No, well, I was going to move silently, but I'm going to take the chance. We're going to move loudly over to here. Comms room, we found the send the signal, that's fantastic. That's one of the rooms we didn't find last time. Everyone was dead before I could find it, and there was only 2 rooms left we hadn't explored. It is broken, which sucks. 2 items. Broken. And noise roll. That's a 4, which is fine. No alien encounter yet. So to send the signal, it costs 2, but first of all we would need to fix the room. I want to hold on to the 2 cards I have because I'm holding on to a suppressive fire and a reload. So at that point the captain is passing and we'll have to hope that he gets a repair next time. That means also the CEO needs to get down there as well. He might take the long way though to check the engines. So for our CEO, I'm going to get rid of demolitions and authority to move quietly / carefully, so we can dictate where the noise is as we go over to... Oh no, we found the nest. That's, well, we got silence, so we don't need to roll for noise, but we're in the nest. I'm glad I didn't put out the fire now, because if the fire spreads to the nest, that's actually to our benefit. Ending the turn in the nest is super risky though, because if the queen comes out of the bag for development, it spawns. He's got 1 card left in his hand. He could move loudly. It also just occurred to me, I don't know for sure if there's a rule where if you find the nest and you get a silence, it still counts as noise because you're in the nest. I don't know offhand. I don't want to stay in there because knowing my luck, I'll draw the queen from the bag. So we'll get rid of his last card. It was computer skills, doesn't matter. And we're just going to move loudly and get out of there. So I need to move the camera in Vero, apologies, because we're moving right over to that room on the right there. Right here. Generator. Oh, we could just initiate self-destruct, although we can't do that yet because the ship will blow up before I can leave. Also, noise in every direction. Oh, what was that? 2? Yeah, 2 items. 2 items. Noise in every direction. Plip, plop, plip. And that's the end of a turn. So we are about to do the end phase of the first round, but I was just looking into what would happen if we initiated self-destruct, because that would be quite funny. The escape pods unlock when the self-destruct track reaches the orange section, which you can't see, it's in the bottom left of the board. It starts at 6 and it turns orange at 3. So we would have to live for 3 turns, and then you have 3 turns to get out. We don't know where the escape pod launching stations are yet. We would need to find one, and we would need both characters to send the signal before the ship explodes. We don't need to initiate it right now, but part of me kind of wants to in the next turn. We'll see. If the captain could find one of the escape pod launching areas, that'd be perfect, because then they just need to stay alive. But either way, we have an end of turn to do. Let's zoom out a little bit. I don't think you can quite see the time track even if I zoom out, so never mind. It's ticking down to 14. There's nothing to do fire damage or intruder wise, so we just draw the event and then the bag. And this time we'll try and do the bag at the right time. That's really bad. Okay. Launch the escape pod token with the lowest number, then remove that card from the game. The lowest escape pod number was the one at the bottom of the ship. It was number 2. It just prematurely launched without unlocking, meaning there is now only 1 escape pod left on the ship, and both of them need to get to, and it's in the, well, the pod is launched, well, I was going to say it's launched from the top left of the ship, but that's not true, that's where it's stored. The actual bay you get into it from could be down here somewhere, who knows. Bag development, the scary part. Let's shake it up nice and loud, and then we're just going to grab, this. It is, that's a larva, so that just means one more egg. And then, do we do anything else after that? I can never remember. Remove the token from the intruder bag and place one adult intruder in the bag instead. So it's not the egg one. It is one of the eggs evolving into an adult. And with that, we're into the next round. So I've drawn back up to 5 cards for both characters, and I did get the basic repair card for the captain, so he's not going to be able to do much this turn because you need to get rid of 2 cards along with the basic repair, but he's going to do it. There's the basic repair card. I hadn't drawn it in turn 1, hopefully in focus, and I'll get rid of order and motivation as the other 2 you have to spend to do it. It repairs the comm room, and then how much does it cost to send the signal? It costs 2. That's his entire turn. Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to get rid of the 2 cards I was talking about earlier. He's going to send the signal, so that is one criteria of his card regardless of which he picks, because both required sending the signal. The CEO still needs to send the signal as well, but that is the captain passed. That is his turn entirely done. So I've been looking at the CEO here wondering, do I start the self-destruct? And I remembered the criteria does involve destroying the ship. If we trigger the self-destruct, that means we don't care whether or not the engines are broken. We don't care if the ship's going to Earth or not. It doesn't matter because the ship's going to explode. Getting back up here with all the noise tokens is awkward. It would be much easier to just trigger it and flee. So it's going to cost him 2 cards though, because he's used up the card that he could have done a room action for free, unfortunately. I'm going to get rid of 2, just one more thing, and a robotic punch in order to initiate self-destruct. And let's read the actual card for it, which I have over here. Let's see here. Self-destruct. Place 1 status marker on the first green space on the self-destruct track if there isn't one already. Can do. I need to grab one. Can do. I have done. It's on the green 6 number that I alluded to earlier. Let's see, what else does it say? From now on, each time you move the time mark, you also move the self-destruct track. When any character stops it, nope, we're not going to be stopping it. When it reaches the yellow space in the self-destruct, which is... oh, they call that yellow? That is definitely orange, but whatever. It's 3. The self-destruct sequence cannot be aborted anymore, and the escape pods unlock instantly. They also unlock if a character dies, incidentally. I can't remember if I said that. When the marker reaches the last space with the skull, the ship explodes. Okay then. So I think this is going to be a very quick turn in general, because he's going to then spend 2 of his cards. I'm holding on to a card he has called Protect. It's a one-time use. Once it's used, it's gone from the game forever. But it lets him move away from an intruder for free without any ramifications, because his robot kind of like defends him with his robot kung fu. So I want that one to hold on to, because when he goes down to the signal room, it's going to get noisy. So I'm going to move him down to here. Careful movement. It's the shower room. That's where you can get D slime. No, never mind. The shower is broken. Isn't that always the way? So we're going to generate noise here, because we don't need to go back to the hibernatorium. But we're finding a lot of rooms that are malfunctioning, so we're going to be a little bit careful with that. Because if we run out of malfunction markers, the ship is going to explode prior to when I want it to be. So because he's holding onto that 1 card, he is also passing. So we're already at the end of the round. So we tick down, but also on the other side of the board over there, we tick down from 6 to 5 on the self-destruct. That's one way to make sure a game of Nemesis doesn't go on too long. Find the self-destruct and trigger it super early. No intruders on the board, nothing, no fire damage because there's nobody in the room that's on fire. Go straight to an event card. The event card is Coolant Leak. What does this do? If there is a malfunction marker... oh, this would have started the self-destruct if the generator room is malfunctioning, but we already did that, so that's fine. Remove this event from the game and then reshuffle. We've had 2 events that get removed instantly. That's really weird. I did shuffle the deck. Bag development. Look at me remembering to do it when you're supposed to do it. And we are getting a... that's the queen. But in bag development that just means an egg, right? That's the one that does an egg. Let's just check. If there's any characters in the nest, place the queen in the room. If there are no characters in the nest, or you haven't found it yet, add an additional egg to the intruder board. So there are now 6 eggs or 7 eggs on the board. So it's a bit of an interesting choice what you do with the captain. He has to go first. He is the first player. If he doesn't do 2 actions, he is forced to pass. But if I leave him in that room, the CEO can move here, and then moving into the comms room won't require a noise roll because the captain is in there. But that would mean he's spinning his wheels when he could be looking for the escape pods. Because if we don't find the escape pods, we're going down with the ship, which is not good. And right now, because we haven't encountered an alien, it kind of looks like they're blowing up the ship for no reason, and I'm sure that won't look good. How many turns could I waste? I've got 1 search card, so I could waste a search action. But he needs to do something else. Oh, he could give himself the intercom. That's an action. But then it would still roll back around to him, so it'd still be wasting a turn. But at least he would be doing something. What does the intercom do again? You're allowed to check this. All characters in a room with a computer can use it as if they've been ordered to. Or motivation card, yeah. Not really that useful, but it could burn a turn. Let's search and go from there. So we're using a search card for its actual purpose as its first action of the turn. This ticks down to 1. And it's yellow items again. So we either get a fire extinguisher. What's that do? Discard a fire marker or make an intruder retreat. That's really good actually. Or a spacesuit. What does this do? If you're in a yellow room, discard all action cards and move your character to any other yellow room. Oh, it teleports you across like you go outside, you spacewalk. Pretty cool, but I think for what we're trying to do, the fire extinguisher is more useful. It's a heavy item though, so he's got a heavy item in each hand now because his revolver for some reason counts as a heavy item. That's okay. And then we'll do the intercom, which costs a card, so presumably that means it counts as an action. We discard our tools, it gives us the intercom, so we've repaired the ship's intercom. That's gone away. And that means that for now, he doesn't need to pass, but I think he's still eventually going to have to. Alright, our Mr. CEO on the left, discarding a demolition card to move normally. What do we have here? Oh, we have the evacuation station. Wait, is that the one we need? It is. No, it's not the one we need. Haha, it's not the one we need and it's broken anyway. 3 items. We need evacuation station A. That still has the escape pod in it. But this is busted anyway, so whatever. And then we roll for noise. We have a noise in the 2, which is fine. We're getting followed. And then we're gonna move normally again. We don't need that evacuation section, sadly. It's the other one we need to find. It's somewhere around the outside of the ship because it's a tier 1 room, not a tier 2 room. But it still could be anywhere. It could be over by the front of the ship for all we know. I'll get rid of a search card because I don't think the CEO is searching for much. Did I put that on the wrong character? Nope, I did not. And then we will move again into the engine room. Roll for noise. Where's the... There it is. A 2. There. And that's 2 actions. So unfortunately we now need to pass over to the captain. If the captain moves from that room, the CEO will have to do a noise roll if he goes into it, and because there's noise in every corridor, it's a guaranteed encounter. So that's a problem. Give me a chance to think. So I think I'm going to take the chance and burn the turn for the captain, but not before playing motivation as one of his actions, which does all characters in the room you're in, including yourself, draw 1 action card. This is just to give him another option, either for this turn or next, so it was a demolition card, so not really that useful. He can't do anything else that doesn't involve leaving the room, so he is passing his turn. He didn't really do anything. He got the watch. That fire extinguisher could be clutch in certain situations. I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, for now he has passed. And then for the CEO, he's getting rid of a protect card in order to move. He does not need to do a noise roll because there's a friend in the room to go, hello, good sir. And unfortunately, because time is against us, I can't hold on to the cards I was hoping to, because what's left in his hand is a protect card and a fast repairs, both of which are really good, one defensively and one just for progressing the game. He's going to get rid of both of them to send the signal. So they have both now sent the signal, and now they are both concerned. Well, technically I haven't chosen yet because I haven't encountered an alien, but we want the ship to explode. They just need to get out alive. Our time ticks down. That goes down to 12. Self-destruct goes down to 4. When it ticks across next turn, it becomes irreversible and the escape pods open. Let's go straight to our event, because again there's no aliens on the map. Oh, this could potentially be bad. Set the item counter to 0 in each room with a fire marker. Can do. Let's just flip that down there so there's no items left in storage because it's on fire. Place a fire marker in each room neighbouring a room with a fire marker. Fire doesn't spread through doors or technical corridors. So the nest is on fire, as is the command center. I don't know if a room can be on fire and malfunctioning simultaneously. I presume it can. And then that card is done. Bag development. Now I don't know. Hang on. What step is fire damage? Because it does matter. Time track, intruder, fire event. Yeah, so the fire doesn't proc this turn because next turn it will destroy one of the eggs in the nest. Not that it matters if the ship explodes because then all the nest eggs get destroyed. But a larva, so it's turning into an adult as well. So it's another adult token going in the bag. Which is just as well, because if we'd drawn an adult, that would have resulted in a noise roll, and I think that would have summoned an alien. So we're starting a new round, and I'm going to start. Obviously the captain has to start because he's player 1. He is, for his first action, going to order the CEO, which doesn't make much sense because the CEO outranks him, but hey, it's his ship, I guess. Choose another character in the room you're in. Move that character to a neighbouring room of your choice with or without their permission. This is where the semi-cooperative nature of the standard game mode comes into effect. We're forcing the CEO to move to airlock control, and presumably he needs to do a noise roll, and it is going to mean that he gets an encounter, but that's what we want to happen in this case, so we can safely sneak down here, hopefully. Oh, actually, I don't know if that does generate a noise, or does generate an alien, because there's already noise in every corridor. Let me just check. He might have actually got the one result that saves him, other than silence. Let's see. Danger. If there's an intruder in the neighbouring room, it would come and get them. If there's no intruders in any neighbouring rooms, or they're in combat, place a noise marker in each corridor connected to this room that does not already have one, counting technical corridors, etc. It does not say there's any exception for if there's a situation where there's noise in every area already. So I guess it's okay. That might be wrong, but the part on that result does not specify. And then for the captain's other action, he's going to get rid of an interruption and a demolition to move carefully down into the engine rooms. Will generate noise in the one place it's safe to do so. And then that's him done for now. He's only got a reload and a basic repair in his hand, but at least he's got that fire extinguisher to maybe save him in a bit. So the CEO is going to get rid of an interruption and a rest to move carefully. It's all part of my plan, I assure you. He's going to move down to this room down here, which I think you can just see behind the card there. He's found the surgery, which doesn't really matter, although you might be able to get rid of that one mortal wound, serious wound he starts the game with. It slams the door down behind him. There's only one item. So we walk there, the door slams down, and we have to put noise in the one place it's safe to do so. It would be 2 to use surgery, which is... Let's see here, again we'll just pull over the card that I keep over here. Surgery. Perform a surgical procedure. You could scan your contaminated cards and remove infected ones. If you have a larva, you could remove that. No, it doesn't do anything with serious wounds. Okay. But he kind of needs to stay there because I want to let the captain move in quietly. So, he's going to pass. He has to pass. And we're back over to the captain then. So the captain is just going to move because he doesn't need to move carefully because he's moving into a room with a friend, so there is no noise generation. These two piggyback off of each other pretty well in terms of like moving together through a ship. They both have the ability to move someone without their permission as well. Now unfortunately that means he is going to have to pass right there, and everything is going to turn red because the self-destruct is about to become irreversible. Our turn time ticks down to 11, our self-destruct ticks down to 3. The escape pod at the top left of your screen is now open. Unfortunately we haven't found the room that lets us get in there yet, and if we don't find it in 3 turns, we go down with the ship, which as of yet has no proof of aliens, so we'd just be destroying the ship for fun. Event card. Oh, and an egg would be destroyed. Not that it matters again, really, because they're all going to get destroyed. Hatching. Discard 1 egg from the intruder board. Any characters in the nest room who have no actions left are infected by a larva. They get face hugged. If no character is an infested token, put a larva into the intruder bag. So 1 egg lost to fire, 1 egg lost to a larva hatching, which I've now plopped in the bag. And we're just going to shake, shake, shake. Dip it in. And pull out a... Oh, as it almost rolls off the table. That is an adult token, which could be bad. So, all players roll for noise in turn order. If a player is in combat with an intruder, they don't return the adult intruder to the bag. Oh, I'm going to have to stretch across the camera because it rolled across the table. Now that's bad because there's no way to avoid this. They're going to encounter an alien. So the captain is going to encounter an alien. Oh, he could roll silence, actually. Nope. Would the CEO have rolled silence? No. So, they have encountered something. It doesn't get to do anything this turn, and presumably... Well, presumably it still gets a surprise attack. I actually don't know because of the weird nature in which it's summoned. I'm going to presume it does get a surprise attack. And it would prioritise the captain because he's the one who would summon it because he was rolling first. He has discovered an adult with a warning of 4, so it is going to hit him. I'm going to have to look at the miniature though, so give me a moment. It was all going hunky-dory until the aliens appeared. So at this point we get to choose which of our missions we're doing. They're both picking sending the signal and making sure the ship has been destroyed, because they synergize obviously because it's the exact same ability or objective. The intruder attack on the captain is a claw attack. 2 light wounds and 1 contaminated card. So 2 light wounds, 1 more would be a serious, 1 contaminated card. Shuffle these ahead of time so that just goes on the top of the discard pile and is now part of his deck, and also might mean that we've just lost right there if it's contaminated by the end of the game. And now we draw cards and start the round. So because we're hanging around the bottom of the ship, I put those 2 cards on their side just so we can see better what's happening. The captain is going to use his fire extinguisher to scare away the adult that has potentially infected him. Got to discard a card in order to use it. Use on 1 intruder in room you are in, it retreats. So it is retreating into the engine room because it got scared. Got to discard a card, that counts as an action presumably. And then we're going to move carefully by getting rid of a reload and a search. And we're going to have the CEO follow us. We're going this way. Plop, plop, plop. What's this room? Oh, it's the other evacuation section. This is what we needed. It's... oh no. Unfortunately, a door has slammed down behind us, like that, trapping the CEO away from the room we need. Can I help him with that? I really can't. The pod is open. So... wait, that was 2 actions. Use an item and move. So I can't do anything else this turn. I'm going to do a noise roll. Forgot about that. 2. Which is there. Okay, that's bad because a 3 or a 4 is safe currently. You have to do a noise roll to get into the escape pod. Well, he's done for now anyway, so it's over to the CEO, who's now stuck behind 2 doors. So as it turns out, the CEO is okay because he has a skill called Computer Skills. Open or close 1 door in a corridor connected to the room you are in. I don't see anything that says on the card that it requires the room with the computer. The alternative use of the card does, but not the one regarding opening and closing doors. So we're removing this door, and then we're going to get rid of 1 card to move normally because there's our friend in here. Hello friend. You didn't close that door on me, did you? Now they're having an argument. So that is 2 actions for him as well. That's a problem because I feel like the captain is better positioned to potentially fight off an intruder. The robot, how much damage does the robot do? You basically just roll the attack dice and deal injuries as in a shoot action. You deal at least 1 injury, you deal 1 extra. Oh, for each additional energy you discard. So you could do like a really big super punch for like 4 damage. That's not necessarily guaranteed to kill an adult. See, that's the problem, because we're back over to the captain's turn now. CEO did 2 things. Broke the door open, moved in and said hello. he has 2 cards left. He can try and get in the pod. If he tries to get in the pod and rolls a 3 or a 4, he is in, and he can just leave and kill the CEO, although if he does that, we lose. He still gets in the pod. Then it comes over to the CEO. No matter what he rolls, it will summon an intruder of some variety. It could be a larva, which would actually be worse. I don't know. He's going to try and get in. Let's see what happens. It might summon an alien. So 2 cards to try and get in. We noise roll. If it's a 3 or a 4, he's in. It's a 3. CEO, goodbye, sir. I'm just going to sit in this pod up the top left of the board, which I don't think is in camera, but he's now just sitting in there. And it's the CEO's turn. He can't get in. Now, let me see here. It costs 2 to get in. We know for sure he's summoning something. If it's a larva, it doesn't really matter. Let's read the escape pod thing just to see. You may perform this action. It costs 2. In any escape pod section, as long as it's unlocked and the escape pod has at least 1 empty space, make a noise roll. If an intruder appears, your attempt has failed. After resolving your noise roll, if no intruder has reached the room, place your character in one of the escape pods if there's any free space. So it's definitely going to summon one, because we can't just get in quietly. If I get rid of those 2 cards, I can stop him attacking me this turn, and then we can hope to draw something useful next turn. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I guess that's what we're going to do, because the alien could also run away in the event phase. Actually, no, I don't think they move if they're in combat. Yeah, okay. I'll get rid of Authority and Robotic Punch. We try and get in the pod. It doesn't matter what we roll, but just for theatrics, let's roll it. Oh look, we summoned something. That means our attempt to get in has failed. What have we summoned upon ourselves? A larva would actually be the worst. Okay, it's a larva. 1, oh wait, it doesn't attack. It's a warning 1. We have 1 card left in our hand, which I was going to use to stop the attack, because it's called Stop It and then it's removed from the game. But I don't need to, because it was only an attack 1. But that does mean the larva's in the room with us, on the floor. So I'm going to go look that out, and we'll be back with the end of this round. Well, there's a larva on the board, ticking down to 10, and the self-destruct ticks down to 2. Definitely cutting it close. No fire damage to do. I presume the intruder gets to do another attack at this point though, because it was spawned by the noise roll, then in the event phase it does it again. At this point we are discarding Stop It to ignore the attack, but then that card is gone from his deck, so it will not be drawn again this game. But that stops the attack and we go to the event phase. Damaging Fire. Oh. Place a malfunction marker in each room with a fire marker. So that would be 2 more, so we're not in any danger of exploding yet. Place a fire marker in each room neighbouring a room with a fire marker. It doesn't spread through closed doors or technical corridors. Okay, so that means the generator room is on fire and an undiscovered room in the top left is. That's not enough fire markers to matter, so we don't really need to do that, because this next turn with the CEO is one way or the other going to be the last turn, I think. So it comes down to this, and I did draw a Robotic Punch card, so we're going to do that with the robot. So let's just show you the card first of all, then I'll read it. There it is. Choose an intruder in the room you're in, the larva. Roll the attack die and deal injuries as a shoot action. That's good enough for a larva. So that would do 1. If you deal at least 1 injury, you can discard other energy markers to deal more. For a larva, I think I'm going to go all in and do 4 additional. That still leaves him with 1 point on there, so the wound doesn't affect him. But that means there's 5 damage in total coming in against the larva. Does he get murderated? He had 3 health, so yes he does. Wait, I've miscalculated. I've made a big mistake, because I only have 1 card left in my hand. And oh wait, no, sorry, no, I don't. That's the card I just used. I'm like, where's the rest of my hand? I put it down to show you the card. Robotic Fist gone, along with 4 energy. We discard 2. It doesn't matter which. Let's get rid of Interruption and Authority. Why not? Discard those, you make a noise, roll. It was silent anyway. Plop, plop, plop. He gets into the escape pod and says, come with me if you want to live. And together, they shoot off away from Nemesis with 2 turns to spare before it explodes. They have both sent the signal, but that doesn't mean they've won. It does mean the ship explodes, so that part is covered, but just out of curiosity's sake, let's see where they were going and what engines were like. They were going to Venus, you say so, and then pull back a little bit, come over to the engines. Engine 1, we'll just say whatever's on the bottom. Engine 1 was working, Engine 2 was, sorry I wasn't showing it, damaged. Engine 3 was working, so it was fully repaired enough that it wouldn't have just exploded by going to warp speed. So all this comes down to, in terms of whether or not we've won, is whether or not the captain has something in his belly. So it all comes down to whether or not this contamination card says infected, although then even after, if it does, there is one last chance for it not to kill him. So we'll put that in there. Again, I don't know if these actually show up, but there you go. Does it say infected? It does not. It doesn't. Yep, I'm sure it doesn't. So that means, I think we actually rather smoothly, we only encountered 1 alien. Oh no, 2, sorry, 2. I think we've done our goals. Send the signal and the ship must have been destroyed. Yep, because the ship exploded 2 turns after we left. Send the signal and the ship must have been destroyed. Now if we had to make sure the Queen was dead, well, you know, the ship exploding counts as the Queen being killed, so it still would have been doable. The other one was what? The nest must have been destroyed. The ship exploding destroys the nest, and the nest was on fire, so it was actually inevitable that it was about to be destroyed as well. So no matter which way you cut it, yeah, that was actually a very smooth win. And a far away from how it went last time with the soldier and the captain. The CEO and the captain seem to work pretty well together. Neither of them particularly want to get into fights, and they have ways of mitigating that with suppressing fire or order or authority, etc. But yeah, so that was a little bit of a shorter one, but we won. I don't think anything was done wrong. And I think we remembered bag development at the end of every turn, but as always, could definitely have forgotten. It's very easy to forget things in this game. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you want to see more Nemesis in the future, let me know. We'll try and fit it in somewhere in the schedule. But thank you for watching, and ta-ta for now.